Welcome everybody back to Just Plain Crazy. I am Brendan. We are at the field today in Wings of Williamsport in Williamsport, PA. If you're interested in getting into flying turbines like I was, I want to share some information with you that may help you along the journey. So how did I get into flying jets? My very first jet was the 70 mil E-Flite Viper. We quickly got comfortable with that. We moved on to other jets, the FMS BAE Hawk, the Freewing F-14, the Futura, the 90 mil Viper. So eventually, one of my all-time favorites, the Freewing, this is the 80 mil Warthog. If you can get comfortable and have success flying this, you can get into flying these. So the AMA does require that you have a certain amount of high performance jet flight, stuff that can crest 100 miles an hour or thereabouts. So well, if you can land something that's heavier here and you understand that the big heavy stuff doesn't instantly pull out and go, these operate along the same lines realistically. So ultimately, get yourself into the EDF market, find something you're comfortable with, get good with it, takeoffs, landing, and a full understanding, and then let's talk about the turbines. So let's talk about some of the stuff here behind me. With jet selection, I decided to go with the Avanti Mini from Gator-Rc, link down in the description below. Why? Many reasons. Pluses and minuses for me now going through my first build, the research, the learning curve, the whole 9 yards. Let's take a look in the inside of the plane. So as you look on the inside of this, downfall of a smaller jet, not quite as easy to see in the air, gets away from you a little quicker. The electronics are harder to place on the inside. There's a lot going on here. So you have your air trap, you have your main fuel tank, and then in the back you have a turbine. So I went with a Xicoy 45, very dependable, reliable turbine. But it gets hard to place all that equipment in there and achieve a good CG when you don't have much space. Benefit of the big plane, got lots of room, can play with the CG pretty easily, okay? So you could space things out a little bit. But let's talk about fields. The first field here I'm going to show you is my home field. We have a lot of woods around there. So flying turbines there at that location isn't ideal, and we restrict those to events only. Now we're gonna flip over to this location, and you can see here, this is very wide open. We're here at sunset. You know, you could see really easily, but really nice open area to fly turbines here. So when it comes down to big or small, you got to consider what type of runway, quality of the jet for the landing gear. This thing is very grass capable, so we could fly it off of shorter runways as a smaller jet pretty easily. One of the things I concern myself with is weight. I wanted to keep the weight down to keep the wing loading down so it doesn't come in like a rocket. So that was very important to me. With bigger planes, usually typically that, if you will, overall in comparison, lower wing loading on those things, they kind of more floaty, but maybe they take a longer runway. So you got to look at those two aspects. This one is composite with built up balsa wings and stabs. You can do an EDF version here or a turbine version. I made mine turbine version. It transfers really well from one to the other. The linkage would transfer really easily. You can use it on both. You didn't have to upgrade it on this, although I chose to. One of the other things that you do want to keep in mind here is the cost. So with a composite fuse, nice, sturdy, build up balsa wings and stabs, that keeps the cost down. If you're going with a full composite jet for your first one, I'm sure it's going to be a very high quality, but the cost goes up. So another option that bears discussing here is foam. So we have EDF foam jets that people convert into turbines. Although it seems like a cheap option at the very beginning, by the time you buy different things to retrofit it, try and make it work, really stuff all kinds of components in there, what starts off cheap doesn't end cheap, and then sometimes also doesn't end well. Then you have your foam jets that are turbine capable, and that's the way they're built. They generally are good quality, but how well do they hold up up overall, and is it a good beginner jet to beat up and to learn with and not get super hard to fix? Possible. And then we also have balsa jets. So balsa can be just regular sheeted, covered, designed for EDF/turbine, and that is also an alternative. Again, just thinking about what you're putting in there, how big is the aircraft, and where are you flying it. Taking all those things into consideration, I felt this route was best for me. Well, if you go bigger, turbine cost goes up. I thought this one was a nice project to keep it budget friendly. You're going to get about $2,000 into the turbine, about $1,000 into the jet, plus whatever electronics. And I'm running an AR SmoothFlite system in this, and good quality high-tech servos. So I want good, reliable equipment, especially in something you do not want to crash at a location. So some of the basics, some of the things that we need here at the field that are going to help you along the way. So you can see my fuel can over here. This is a Jersey Modeler's fuel can. What I like about this, everything's self-contained. It's blue, it signifies diesel, it signifies kerosene, and it's got a filter. So everything is filtered as it is going over into the jet. We also run a ceramic clunk in the jet, so it's filtered there. Plus we run an inline filter, an easy removable battery on the inside there, a lithium polymer. We can adjust the flow. We have a safety switch, we have a forward, we have a reverse, link in the description below. Super cool fueling system. Fire extinguisher. Now, at the flight line, you have to have this stuff with you at the flight line. So we want I'm using a Aileron fire extinguisher, and here we have a pressurized 2.5 gallon just water. So what's the difference? You don't want to go with a powdered chemical fire extinguisher, and you do want it up here at the flight line because you don't want to blow all that stuff through your turbine should you have a hot start or you pumped raw fuel in there and you got yourself a fire. Now, you can use CO2 or you can use what's now considered Aileron, which is safe for the environment. Talking to the fire extinguisher company, one of the things they shared with me is CO2 actually comes out in ice crystals. So if you actually have a really hot turbine, whether it is a tin, a metal, aluminum, you're quickly changing that temperature, where the Aileron kind of smothers it out. Not a fire extinguisher chemical engineer, just sharing some information. Aileron a little bit more expensive, but ultimately what I went with, we want it up here at the flight line. Why the pressurized water? Well, I fly at a lot of fields that don't have turbines. So one of the things that you got to keep into consideration, I haul this around with me. This thing came from P4 Fire Extinguishers in my hometown. Super cool company to deal with and talk to, very informative. But the nice part is I keep it with me just in case we should ever need it, because the field should have one at their facility. If they don't, I'm bringing mine along with me, so no problem there. Fuel choices for turbines. Is it going to be Caro? Is it going to be diesel? Can it do both? Quick clip, we went through a lot of different gas stations trying to find a place that had Caro. It is preferred in the Xicoy as comparison to diesel. You can find everywhere. It took a lot longer to be able to find kerosene for this project. So that's a little something there. Make sure that we go through all of the manuals and the information. Let's go ahead and I'll cut over to AMA information and service information for the components we put into this. So now we're going to hop on over to www.modelaircraft.org, which is the AMA website. One of the easiest things I found is just go to the search bar and type in turbine, and you could search for documents that way. This is going to break down all the information you need to know about what your jet should be equipped with, like a device to slow it down. That doesn't necessarily mean brakes. It could be a parachute or a hook or whatever. We typically go with brakes, but you're going to have to study all the documentation for your turbine. It's new, it's different for you, just like it was for me, the way the engine operates, the electronics, so forth and so on. But here, there's a lot of good information in this AMA article that's going to help guide you. Mainly, what does your jet need to pass qualification, and what do you need to do to pass qualifications? One of the things that we have to do is get with 2 certified turbine pilots in order for us to get qualified. One of those has to be a contest director. So I reached out to a good friend of mine, Jeff Black. He is also our AMA Vice President in District 3. Jeff is going to help me in this process, along with Mark and Matt, who are certified turbine pilots at the Blue and Gray field over in Gettysburg, PA. So we're going to go ahead and now that we've studied up, we're going to go ahead and hop on over there to that field, and we're going to show you the process. The first thing up, I got to get a flight on a buddy box. Let's do this. So we have up elevator.
Now we're going to get our expert pilots to go through the plane and make sure that it's airworthy, that it's ready for this qualification flight, checking things like our fuel system, our setup, our CG, making sure our safety systems work, our fail-safe shut off, our manual shut off, our electronics shut off, maybe even give you some good overall flying tips, but ultimately making sure this plane's airworthy. Now, this is also the stage where your certifying pilot will also ask you a series of questions, like how you go through startup, what happens if you have an onboard fire, how do you handle that, or otherwise a hot start, how do you handle it if it should catch fire in the air. Different types of situations that you may run into with a turbine. It's a little bit of a different animal from what we've been flying with EDFs.
Down elevator, left rudder, right aileron, left aileron.
Takeoff flaps.
Takeoff flaps.
What do you have them set
flaps.
4. Those are high rates.
No, what's your takeoff flap set at? 30%?
Oh, hell, I don't know.
Takeoff flaps.
I'm going to take it off without flaps initially. I have it set up in flight mode so I can trim out each step of either takeoff flaps or landing flaps.
Let me give you a word of advice on this. If you take it down there and it's not lifting, board and put the flaps on.
Okay.
You'll get an idea what you have for power.
You're going to get to know right away when you taxi it if it's got the balls to jump or not, because a lot of people take off with takeoff flaps just for that reason, to give you the lift.
Okay.
I didn't actually pick it up full weight.
He said, what's it weigh?
9
12
empty.
pounds.
All right, so there's that. Fuel valve, that's on. It was closed when we filled it.
Yeah.
So trim is up.
Motor idle speed.
These engines start super fast.
Yeah, it don't take long.
It's tick, 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 tick.
I'm going to calibrate the fuel pump.
In this section, we're just going to simply do some taxi testing. Make sure this thing feels like it's going to lift off. See if we can get a little read on whether or not we need flaps. But mainly, I'm testing the brakes. I want to make sure the thing stops and brakes evenly, that no major adjustment is needed. Make sure that the landing gear holds up appropriately. But make sure that we also have the throttle response and the tracking that's needed. Now, one of the last pre-checks we have to do is the good old range test. We're going to take this thing down the field, probably about a good 60, 70 yards. We're going to put it into range test mode, engine running, and we're going to put it in lots of different orientations. And I'm having my contest director, or my guy that's going to certify me, he's going to go ahead and rotate it in orientations, and he's going to watch those control surfaces and make sure that nothing weird happens, that nothing glitches out, and everything responds the way it's supposed to.
So So you wanted to get into turbines, and here we are. We're at the field. We're getting ready to get certified. We've gone through all the checks, the pre-checks, all the safety testing, all the things that you got to see earlier. And now you got your jet. So you got those beginning nerves. Make sure you take your time, go over everything, take a few good deep breaths, and let's get this thing fired up and let's get it in the air. Altitude's gonna be our friend right out of the gate. Taking off, left to right.
Now, I know you guys heard that big sigh I just let out, but anyway, it's go time. So during this qualification flight, the contest director will call out a series of maneuvers during the flight that you have to complete. And basically what he's doing is he's going off that AMA guideline paper that he has to fill out. Everything is listed in there. Familiarize yourself with what's on that paper so that way you can do that during your buddy box flight, get used to what that feels like in comparison to an EDF, and make sure that you're able to complete those maneuvers during this test period.
What a big difference, huh? You can do your figure eight whenever you want.
Okay, we're gonna do one quick passage.
Yeah, that's fine. Do what you want.
Figure eight.
Yep. Harder than farther. All right, you can start it now. Very good. Now you can do a roll, loop, whatever you want to do. And a high-speed circuit.
So Cuban.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, you can if you want. Just do a regular loop. That looks good. Thanks.
All right, guys, so we got fast, we got loops, we got rolls. Let's put on some flaps here and see what this looks like in a slow stable. So that's just takeoff flaps right there.
50 seconds.
Let it slow down a little bit. Start to put in fulls. Keep the nose down a little bit. It's a little bit less than half.
30 seconds.
All right, let's go ahead and start setting up for another landing. The first one went pretty well.
Do an overshoot first.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Over flat.
Gear down.
2, 1.
So we're starting to build in a little bit more than half throttle right now. Start to back it down a little bit. I gained a little bit altitude, so I have some descent.
Landing flaps.
Keep a little bit of power in it. Start to back it out. Just kind of watching how the nose behaves. Guys, flies like an EDF. It's amazing. It's stable. I like it. That was flown on a single race. So again, we'll follow up with race in the descriptions. We'll bring it back, take the canopy off, shut it down. But the biggest things is setting up the rates, and I've yet to play with the gyro. Gyro's off the whole flight. We'll play with that in a couple flights just so we get confident with it. We'll bring it so the turbine's facing downwind. Still about half. All right guys, so there you get to see all of the steps in the process on how to get your turbine waiver and get into flying turbine jet. So all of these people behind me, plus many more, very instrumental in me achieving my turbine waiver. Super excited, couldn't have done it without them. So big thank you to Jeff, my camera guy Donnie as always, and Matt and Mark, who gave me my first touch of the flu, if you will. So with that being said, it's Brendan here at Just Plain Crazy. I wish you guys happy flights. Peace out. All right guys, now that you're fully qualified and you got your application all filled out and signed off, we're going to go ahead, call this number and go ahead and pay our fee, and then we are going to email copies of everything to this to this email address. What, is that okay with you? Okay, cool. All right guys, I kind of got a heads up something's in the mailbox, so let's check it out. Oh, what do we have here from the AMA? We're gonna have to open this up before we ever get back to the house. So it's been, I don't know, since we submitted our application to the AMA, it's probably been about 3 weeks total. We've been waiting for our actual new certification cards. They send you one. It's got that little fancy verbiage on it that says turbine qualified, or I guess waiver, I don't know, I guess we'll find out exactly what it says. It says something in here. Ooh, I see what it says. I gotta hide the numbers though. I don't know if it really matters, but it's an exciting day. I'm stoked. Gotta peel this bad boy out of here. Hold on, here it comes. All right, awesome. Oh, look at that. So I'm gonna swing this thing around, check this out. So there it is. It says turbine fix. So it is my new AMA card. Super stoked, super excited. What a cool venture this has been. Special thanks to everybody that's been involved. You know, let's start with Gator-Rc, the wife, as always, for putting up with me as I build airplanes every night. Got to thank Jeff Black, all the guys at Blue Gray, Mark, Matt, everybody that got me my first taste, all the people that helped me along the way. So Ronnie London, Jan Berg, Jeff Jackson, my cameraman Donnie Clark. Like, it's just an immense amount of people. So I couldn't have done this without all of you guys. A lot of cool advice. Don't be afraid to reach out to people during the process. Reach out to the right people, experienced people. Do your homework, do your research. I hope the video helped you guys. I hope you followed along for the whole thing, and I can't wait for you guys to share in the comments what your first turbine project will be. So guys, that's an official wrap of this project. So with that being said, do me a favor, guys, head on over to www.gator-rc.com. check them out, link in the description below, to look at this, to look at their wide selection of planes, balsa planes, composite planes, jets, you name it. They have full lines, top model RC, Seagulls models, Maxford, you name it, one-stop hobby shop, great people to deal with. So that being said, it's Brendan here at Just Plain Crazy. You're Just Plain Crazy from always hanging out and watching. I appreciate every one of you guys. Don't forget to check us out on the official Facebook and Instagram Just Plain Crazy pages. With that being said, it's turbine time. Let's get this bad boy back up in the air. We'll catch you. Have a go. Happy flights. Peace out.